Exactly. Oh! What's up, guys? It's your boy Scott from King Queen Cichlids, bringing you yet another new video. Now, before we get started, do me a personal favor. Hit that subscription button. I am only 30 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers. Yes, 2,000 subscribers. Also, hit that notification button so you know every time I upload a new video, or you know every time Liz and I do a live feed, which will be happening this Sunday at 8 o'clock. And also, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed what you see today, or hit the thumbs down button if you didn't like what you see today. But at least leave me a comment, let me know what I can do to improve your experience at King Queen Cichlids. Now, without further ado, we're going to talk about large fish tanks and large fish. Yes, the basics. Let's get started. Come on! What the hell? Alright guys, and we are back. Now today's topic is about how to keep large tanks and how to keep large fish. Now it seems like there's a trend going on YouTube where if you showcase or keep large fish or large tanks, the YouTube algorithm seems to want to show and promote channels that, you know, showcase big fish. It seems like the words monster or massive or epic seem to get a lot of views, and YouTube seems to want to showcase those channels with some of those words and some of those big fish, which is great because that's kind of what I keep. However, what I see missing is the general information needed to actually keep large tanks and keep large fish successfully in these large tanks. So today we're just going to go over just some basic stuff that I think you should know if you're interested in keeping large, massive, epic tanks and fish. So you want to keep a large fish. Fantastic, that's great. But before you jump in and get the fish, let's do some research. Let's think about what you're getting ready to do. My number one tip will always be, do your research, do your homework before you purchase any fish, no matter how big or how small. Okay? So sometimes people think doing your research means, oh, I'll jump on Google and I'll read 5 sentences of some information, or I'll watch a YouTube channel and get information from that. I'm sorry to say this, guys, and I'm here to tell you, not all information on YouTube is correct. I hate, it's the truth. I'm not trying to start any fights with anyone or any other YouTube channels, but quite honestly, there is a lot of bad information out there on YouTube that causes hobbyists such as yourself to be unsuccessful. So what I implore you guys to do is pick up a book and read. Figure out what fish that you want to keep. So you saw something on YouTube that you really want to keep. An arowana, a peacock bass, a clown knifefish, whatever it is. Make sure you take the time and you read about the fish so that you know what you need to get to maintain the fish and make sure it has a good, healthy life. Okay? So really, before you can even determine what size tank you're going to get, if you don't already have one set up, you need to know more about the fish and more about what it's going to need to have to sustain a long life. So, one of the books that I read, and I've read this repeatedly, probably 10, 12 times, this is the Manual of Tank Busters. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. It is by Gina Sanford and Richard Crow. Has lots of information about various large fish, filtration, tank size, stuff like that. So do your research, read again if you have to. There are books out there all over the place that talk about large fish, large cichlids. Heck, I've even done a publication. I did several publications on large fish. This one was published by the American Cichlid Association, and it is called Doing It Big with a Splash of Color. And it's an article I did about the fish I keep and the misnomer that, African cichlids are the only colorful cichlids, and I actually do a piece about large cichlids who are just as colorful, if not more colorful, than African cichlids and saltwater fish. Much praise to Rusty Wessel and Mo Devlin, who actually gave me some photographs to use for this article. If anyone is interested in getting this book from me, let me know. I do have copies, and for a small fee, I'll send it out to you. Autograph it, whatever you want. Maybe I can throw in a shirt too if you'd like. But I do have several publications, articles I've done in various magazines and publications talking about large fish. Again, that doesn't mean that everything that I say about large fish is gospel, or it doesn't mean just because it works for me, it's going to work for you. Which is why I say do all you can to do all the research you can on the fish you want before you actually purchase it. Okay? Alright guys, we are back. So now you have taken the time to do some research about what type of fish you want to keep. Next, we got to figure out what tank, if you don't have a tank, you should get. Now, before you get any tank, the first thing you need to do, whether you live in a house, a home, an apartment, a room, a box, I don't care what you live in, you need to check to make sure that you have an area that is structurally sound and you actually have the room for the tank you're going to get. So let's go in my basement and I'm going to show you, what I did to make sure that I was structurally sound and put all these massive tanks in here. Keep in mind that these tanks, the water is 8.5 pounds per gallon. You think about the rocks and the water and the sand and everything else that's in that tank, it's probably 2,000 pounds sitting on this floor right now. And then I have tanks surrounding the area. Let's take a look at it. So then I got tanks all over the place, just as big, just as much weight. So yeah, it's very important that you make sure that your floor can withstand the weight of what you're getting ready to buy or purchase. But anyway, the point is, you want to check and make sure that you have strong structures that's going to hold your fish tank that could be 1,000 to 2,000 pounds without falling through your roof. You definitely want to check that out first. I very rarely hear anyone talk about checking to make sure that your floors can actually withstand the weight of a tank. Alright? So make sure you do that first. Don't want to hear any horror stories. I'm back. So, again, find a spot, make sure the structure is sound, make sure you have space for the tank, and if everything's good with that, then let's move forward with purchasing the tank. We do have some other things we need to talk about, such as filtration. Next thing, you got your tank, you got a spot for it, you know what fish you're going to keep. Filtration is huge. It's a huge decision you need to make. It is so important to keep the water conditions as pure as possible for your large fish. I know people say, well, large fish, large cichlids are hardy. True, but they need good water conditions. All fish need good water conditions. So hopefully you guys understand the nitrogen cycle. If you don't, you need to go back into your book and read about the importance of the nitrogen cycle. Basically, ammonia is created through overfeeding, through waste, stuff like that. Ammonia is harmful to fish. It then converts into nitrites, which is the most harmful to fish. And after nitrites, it becomes nitrates. It is through the cycling of the tank and your filtration system that will help get this nitrogen cycle to become nitrates, where it is less harmful to your fish, as long as it's in small quantities. So there's 3 different types of filtration: biological, mechanical, and chemical. I am a huge component of sponge filters, which is a biological way to filter your tanks. Biological filtration means that you are using beneficial bacteria to break down ammonia, waste, nitrites, stuff like that, and convert them into nitrates or a small trace of nitrates. All my tanks are run by sponge filters. I'm also a big component of mechanical filtration. So most of these tanks have canister filters. Mechanical filtration is simply separating solid from the water. So anything solid that would be like fish waste, any particles that are in the water, they'll get trapped in the canister filter and keep the water clear and clean. So that's what I like to use. There's also chemical filtration, which is like active carbon, which can make sure that your water looks very, very clear. I'm not an advocate of that. I don't use any sort of chemical filtration. Just don't think you need it. If you're doing your water changes, which we're going to talk about next, and you have the right type of filtration, your water is going to look crystal clear just like this one here. So think about that. What do you want to use for filtration? And again, just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And now we're going to talk about water changes, because no matter how great your filter is, you're still going to have to do water changes to maintain a good water quality. So it has to be done. So don't think that you got, you know, the greatest filter in the world and now you don't have to do any water changes. It is important, especially for large fish, to do water changes. So I personally do about 40 to 50% water changes on a weekly basis, either Saturday or Sunday. I drain all the tanks out and then I fill it back up with water. Quite honestly, I fill it up with water outside. I have a long hose that I bring in and I fill all the tanks up, and then I add water conditioner to make sure the water is safe when it's going back in. There's always a lot of controversy about, oh, you got to make sure the water you're putting back in is the same temperature of the water in the tank. I have not found that to be true. I can put water in here. This water is probably about 75 to 78 degrees. I put in water as cold as, I think I did a reading, it was like 60, 63 degrees in here before, and not had any issues, no stressing of the fish, no ick, no anything like that. Keep in mind, guys, these fish in the wild do not consistently have temperatures of 75 to 80 degrees. There is fluctuations up and down, you know, as nightfall comes, the water gets cooler, So I haven't seen any negative reaction to putting water that's up to 15 to 20 degrees colder than what I have in here. In fact, in many cases, it actually triggers my fish to breed, because it's like a season's changing for them, and I find it to be very beneficial to put a little cooler water in. Definitely want to put some water conditioner in to make sure you're getting any traces of anything toxic that might be harmful to the fish out of the water. So water change is very important. You can have the best filter in the world, but it's not going to maintain water conditions. You're going to have to do water changes on a regular basis, especially for large fish, because large fish create a lot of waste, and that waste, if not taken care of properly, can spike and become ammonia and nitrites, and that can be very, very harmful to your fish. So good filtration and water changes on a regular basis. Alright guys, next, let's talk about food. Big fish lead a large variety of diets. Here's what I normally use to feed my fish. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised, but I use this Tetra Jumbo Min large floating sticks, the live food alternative. That's what I use. My fish love them. This is probably what they get 3 times out of the week. I don't feed. Listen, here's the other thing. Don't overfeed your fish. Just because your fish is large doesn't mean that they have to get fed. I basically feed my fish 3 to 4 days out the week. There is a day or two where I don't feed them. If you just feed them and feed them and feed them, they're going to get fat, they're going to get out of shape. I know that sounds crazy, out of shape, but they're not going to be as responsive as they should be. Fish are not, in the wild, fish are not used to being fed all the time. They're just not. So anyway, love the Tetra Jumbo Mints. I highly recommend it. Some other things, Lisa and Martin from Super Cichlids, definitely check Super Cichlids out. It's your one stop for everything aquatic. All you need, supercichlids.com. Don't check them out. Martin and Lisa are completely the best people in the hobby I've ever met. They actually gave me this because they know I keep large fish and told me to try it out and do a review on it. The review is coming out really soon. This is from Tropical. This is called soft line carnivore floating type. My arowanas absolutely love this. This is full of, like, it says shrimp, fish meal, whole wheat. It also has some like different insects in here. My arowanas go crazy over this stuff. Can't wait to get the review out on this, but definitely go to Super Cichlids, buy this if you keep large fish like arowanas. Your arowanas are going to go absolutely crazy for this stuff. Alright, supercichlids.com, check them out. Some of the other stuff I do like the bug bites from Fluval. I use that every now and then. Again, I got this from Super Cichlids as well. I don't know if they have this in stock, but I do like the bug bites as an alternative. Again, I like to give my fish different variety. And then my fail-safe has always been Hikari. I like the Cichlid Gold. I definitely give this to them as well. Sometimes I'll mix like 4 or 5 different foods together and feed it to them at one time, just to give them a variety. As you guys know, I used to show fish on a regular basis. I've won several awards for Best of Show, Best of Reserve Show, all across the country. Last year at Aquatic Experience, all 3 of my fish came in first place. My flower horn that I no longer have because I sold them almost won Best of Show. So I do a lot of work making sure my fish are at the best possible condition with the best possible colors, and giving a variety of diet will definitely help in how they look and how they act. Again, don't feed live foods. Of course I'll do brine shrimp, or as I said, I'll use my fry to feed them, but I wouldn't do goldfish as feeders or guppies or minnows or any of that stuff. That's just my thoughts. Alright, we're going to kind of go over the tips. First of all, you're going to research the fish that you're interested in. Make sure you know everything that you possibly need to know to make sure that you're providing the best possible conditions for this fish. Second, you're going to evaluate the tank that you currently have to see if it's adequate for the fish you're getting, or you're going to purchase a new tank, but you got to make sure that you have the room for it and that your floor is structurally sound for the weight that's going to be on your floor. So we've talked about that. Second, we talk about filtration, what the best filtration for you is going to be. You want these large fish to have the best possible water conditions. I'm a huge advocate of sponge filters along with canister filters, one to do the biological filtration, one to do the mechanical filtration. I think that's a great way to run your tanks. Some people use trickle filters, wet dries, whatever. Those are great as well. I'm a huge advocate for sponge filters. I think they are fantastic. Next, we talked about water changes, how important it is to do water changes. It doesn't matter how great your filtration system is, you're still going to have to do water changes to provide great water conditions for your fish so that they're going to grow and that they're going to show great colors and be very lively. And again, just because your water is crystal clear doesn't mean there isn't harmful stuff going on in your tank. So make sure you're testing your water on a regular basis too, to make sure you're not having spikes of anything like ammonia or nitrites that can be harmful to your fish. Then we talked about foods, the variety of foods that are out there that you can use. I talked about what I specifically use and what I like. Again, you could try something different that works great for you. So don't be afraid to try different things. My point is, try to give a variety of stuff so they have different diets, and this will help their immune system as well as them growing and as well as their coloration. Alright guys, so that is basically just the basics. If you guys enjoy this, leave me a thumbs up. If you would like to have some questions, you have some comments, please leave them below. I'll be glad to respond to them. We can make this an ongoing series if you like, and we can talk more and more about large fish. Again, I'm just seeing a trend where people are putting videos up of these great big fish that are grabbing from stores and throwing in tanks, but there's no real information being provided on them. So it's my hope then I'm helping you by giving you the correct information on how to keep these large fish successfully. Alright guys, again, I have several copies of my article that I did for the American Cichlid Association about large fish. If you would like a copy of it, get in contact with me, leave comments below. I'm sure it'll be just a fee as far as shipping. I'll be glad to autograph it for you, have Liz autograph it for you, and we'll send it to you, and hopefully you will enjoy it. As always guys, thank you so much for viewing. You didn't have to view us on this particular day at this particular time, but you did, and I am so grateful for it. Again, please hit that subscription button if you can, if you haven't already, or share us with your friends. Again, I am only 30 subscribers away from 2,000. I'm so excited. Hopefully we'll hit it this weekend. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely check us out live Sunday at 8. It's Liz and I, and we're going to do a live feed. More and more people are joining in. I think last live feed we had about 60 people on. It's a lot of fun. And we not only talk fish, we talk about a little bit of everything. So come join us Sunday at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much, guys. It's King and Queen Cichlid signing off. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.